Things Podcast. Hey, Phantomaniacs, welcome to the Needless Things 2019 Halloween special, where we will be talking about spooky songs, nightmarish news, and all manner of pop culture creepiness. I am your host, Phantom Troublemaker, and I want to kick things off with a song from our pals, Radio Cult.
By the pale moon's light, I hurry home, knowing what's in store. By the television's glow, I sit and wait, longing for one more night of thrilling chills, like a dozen times before. One more night of chilling thrills, like they just don't make it anymore. It's the Saturday midnight double feature, late night horror show. It's the Saturday midnight double feature, filled with creatures that'll make you hurry home. Creatures fill the screen in black and white. It's such a fright, like nothing that you've seen. One more night of thrilling chills, like a dozen times before. One more night of chilling thrills, like they just don't make it anymore. It's a Saturday midnight double feature, late night horror show. It's the Saturday midnight double feature, filled with creatures that'll make you hurry home. It's a Saturday midnight double feature, late night horror show. It's a Saturday midnight double feature, filled with creatures that'll make you hurry. Saturday midnight double feature, late night horror show. It's a Saturday midnight double feature, filled with creatures that'll make you hurry home.
Welcome to Needless Things News, where we tell you about the hottest toys available now and on their way to your shelves. Coming in summer of 2020 from Boss Fight Studio, available now for pre-order from the Boss Fight Studio store, the Legends of Lucha Libre action figures Wave 1, which includes Penta Zero M, Rey Phoenix, and two accessory sets, Lucha de la Muerte and Lucha Extrema. Both figures include multiple hands and heads and are compatibly scaled with your favorite wrestling action figures. The accessory sets are an expansion of this line and include things like breakable tables, kendo sticks, light tubes, extra heads, barbed wire, folding chairs, and breakable cinder blocks. This is a wild wave of action figures and accessories, not quite like anything that we've seen before, and yet, as I said, compatible with things like the WWE Elite and Basic series from Mattel. These will be equivalent height, scaled, and ready to play, featuring multiple points of articulation, possibly the most articulated professional wrestling action figures you have ever seen. They are appropriate for the Halloween season because Penta Zero M, copyright reasons, is one of the genuinely most scary wrestlers on the entire planet, and his tag team partner, Rey Phoenix, is another bad mofo. This is a great wave of figures and accessories, and if you pre-order the entire wave at once from Boss Fight Studio, you will get autographed pictures of Penta Zero M and Rey Phoenix. Keep an eye out for more from Legends of Lucha Libre from Boss Fight Studio. Gross for one, gross for all. We play with our horror balls. NECA has teamed up with some of the scariest names in the game to bring you freaky, frightening fun in new horror ball foam balls. These monstrous mashups combine the squishy foam balls you know and love with favorite horror franchises. And NECA recently announced The Fiend, the Misfits mascot, which will be coming in January 2020. But if you can't wait to get your hands on some balls, then coming in November, at the end of the month, is the second assortment of horror balls featuring Chucky, Pennywise from the current It movies, and Pinhead, all lovingly sculpted and detailed in the wacky, fun Mad Balls style. Now, I have to tell you guys, I don't know that these are actually Mad Balls. It seems to me that there has been some kerfufflery with the actual Mad Balls brand. I'm not sure what's going on with any of the companies who've been working with Mad Balls for the past few years, and that includes Kid Robot and Mondo. Mondo and NECA both seem to have sort of branched off, and I think it would be a real shame if they decided that they didn't need the Mad Balls brand on these products anymore, but that does seem to be the case with NECA. But whatever it is, keep your eye out for the second wave of horror balls, and in January, The Fiend. We've teased you with things to come. Now it's time to tell you about things you can buy right now in current events. Go to super7.com and order yourself Wave 2 of their Universal Monster Reaction figures. This is the relaunch of their Universal Monsters line. All new sculpts with highly detailed paint jobs. These are gorgeous figures with 5 points of articulation that feature card art by the incredible Ed Repka. Included in this second wave are Frankenstein's monster, the Bride of Frankenstein, Dracula, the Phantom of the Opera, the Invisible Man, and Gillman from Revenge of the Creature. Now, this is a very different Gillman figure that has chains on his ankles and wrists. Very cool look. All of these figures have incredible paint jobs that make them stand out from any other retro action figures of the Universal Monsters that you might have. Also available right now from NECA's online stores, which means eBay or Amazon, is the Sam 8-inch scale cloth figure from the film Trick or Treat. Now, you know Sam, you love him. He's the new mascot of Halloween. Michael Myers is jealous over how popular this kid has gotten. This is a Mego-style Sam that is in scale with NECA's other 8-inch cloth action figures, which means he's about 5 inches tall. He includes a removable mask, a lollipop, and a bag of treats. If you order it from NECA's Amazon or eBay stores, the retail price is $30.99, but you're going to have to pay that shipping, which is around $10 or so. But you're going to get it before your local retailers get it if you order it direct. That's the price you pay to get things first. Be an early adopter. Bring Sam home before Halloween, maybe, and order from NECA today. Igor, we're back on the Needless Things podcast. How wonderful!
Yes, it's truly delightful to be here.
Well, what are we supposed to do?
I think the host was short on ideas and wanted us to be funny and spooky.
Well, we should be able to manage that, right? Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead, do something funny and spooky. I know. Tell a joke.
A spooky joke.
Yes, tell a spooky joke.
On which day are ghosts most scary?
I don't know. On which day are ghosts most scary?
Friday.
Oh. Well, maybe try again.
What do witches race on?
I don't know. What do witches race on?
Broomsticks.
Oh, Igor. I don't know if we're going to be invited back on the show.
I bet we'll be back later for another segment. He's still running short on ideas.
All right, well, we'll see you later, everybody. Atlanta horror punk band The Casket Creatures have been dear friends of mine for years now. It has been my privilege to watch them grow and evolve and become better and better and better with each passing year and every single release. In 2019, they are at the peak of their supernatural awesomeness with the release of their new EP, Folklore, available on October the 31st or at any of the Casket Creatures shows during the month of October. But we're not going to talk about Folklore right now. We're going to take a little trip back in Casket Creature time to the year 2011 and the release of the album Tales from the Unknown, because all fandom has to start somewhere, and mine started then with the little baby creatures. There's a song on that album called Bad to Hearse. It is the second track on the album, and it became stuck in my head for all infinity, and is one of the things that made me fall in love with these guys. So right now, I'd like to take you back to the crypt of the Casket Creatures, if you will, and play Bad to Hearse.
From bad
At approximately 1,300 hours, the black helicopter fell from the sky. Nobody knew why. Looked me right in the eye. All I knew was I was about to die. In the middle of a black circle, in the middle of nowhere, there was a burnout corpse with a burnout center. The woods were cauterized in some tool from outer space. Some other place. I'm glad I didn't look that fiend in the face. The scientist looked down upon the ground. He made one awful sound when he turned to his assistant. He said, "Son, this used to be a goat. A goat. A goat. A goat. A goat. 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 He gave me goat sucker fever. Goat sucker fever. Goat sucker fever. You know. Want some goat sucker fever. Goat sucker fever. Goat sucker fever."
That was Intergalactic Rockers' Super X13 from their 1998 album Ain't Life Grand, one of the greatest albums of all time, I kid you not. I hope you're enjoying the music here on the Needless Things podcast, and now it is time to get into some scary stories. Cold as clay. A farmer had a daughter for whom he cared more than anything on earth. She fell in love with a farmhand named Jim, but the farmer did not think Jim was good enough for his daughter. To keep them apart, he sent her to live with her uncle on the other side of the county. Soon after she left, Jim got sick, and he wasted away and died. Everyone said he died of a broken heart. The farmer felt so guilty about Jim's death, he could not tell his daughter what had happened. She continued to think about Jim and the life they might have had together. One night, many weeks later, there was a knock on her uncle's door. When the girl opened the door, Jim was standing there. "Your father asked me to get you," he said. "I came on his best horse." "Is there anything wrong?" she asked. "I don't know," he said. She packed a few things and they left. She rode behind him, clinging to his waist. Soon he complained of a headache. "It aches something terrible," he told her. She put her hand on his forehead. "Why, you're as cold as clay," she said. "I hope you are not ill." And she wrapped her handkerchief around his head. They traveled so swiftly that in a few hours they reached the farm. The girl quickly dismounted and knocked on the door. Her father was startled to see her. "Didn't you send for me?" she asked. "No, I didn't," he said. She turned to Jim, but he was gone, and so was the horse. They went to the stable to look for them. The horse was there. It was covered with sweat and trembling with fear, but there was no sign of Jim. Terrified, her father told her the truth about Jim's death. Then quickly he went to see Jim's parents. They decided to open his grave. The corpse was in its coffin, but around its head they found the girl's handkerchief. Cold as clay.
Oh yeah, it's the Sexaflex. A little song called Necrosex. The Sexaflex. Necrosex. The Sexaflex. Walking Dead, bitches. Check your local listings.
The witching hour is at hand. Beneath the moon, across the land, a bloodlust is in the air. Some rotted meat's what you demand. Rising up from the grave, sexy undead zombie rave. All you nasty boys and girls, come on and feast on my decay. Maggots and worms, what you perspire, thread your flesh with a rusty wire. Been so fucked, let me give it new gun, head to the neck, snaps cleanly.
Don't judge me when I'm on a dead body. I like to get a bit naughty with a graveyard hottie. You may find it odd when I'm on a dead body. When I'm on a dead body. When I'm on a dead. Close my eyes and stick it in. Not much friction 'cause you got no skin. My creature says it's a sin, but it's how I like my man. Through the graves I'm a sneaking, dead flowers all reeking. Now my parts are peeking for those hearts that ain't beating, 'cause it's the freaking weekend. Vassy, what's up?
The very thought of death make my private parts wet. When I see a body bag, turn me flaccid to erect. I like cadavers the most. I know you probably think it's gross, but you never fuck the body of a voyeuristic ghost. If you was alive, wouldn't do nothing to me. Now you gonna die, maybe blush, maybe woozy. Screwing every home, making new ones as I go. Cutting slits in your tits, penetrating my soul.
Don't judge me when I'm on a dead body. I like to get a bit naughty with a graveyard hottie. You may find it odd when I'm on a dead body. When I'm on a dead body. When I'm on a dead body, dead body, graveyard hottie. Body, dead body, graveyard hottie. When I'm on a dead body.
That was Lace Sexoflex from their 2013 album The Naughty Contest from Gigglebox Electrosex Records. Lace Sexoflex are a legendary band. If you have not heard them, go now to lacesexoflex.com. Download all the music you can, and you can get The Naughty Contest, their final album, their masterpiece, from Amazon for only $5.99. It will make every season of the year sexier. Sexiest motherfucking band in the world, y'all. Lace Sexoflex. Now, speaking of sexy bands, we've got another treat for you coming right up. The soundtrack for the apocalypse. This is the sound of civilization ending and a new world taking shape. Initially a home studio project, started in 2003 under the name Kill Baby Kill, the KBK delivered its first apocalyptic testament to the public in 2010. From that moment forward, the band set out to deliver the message of destruction and hope to the masses with a tour schedule that has seen over 150 dates in 23 states, sharing stages with such legendary and or critically acclaimed artists as The Men, Man or Astro Man, Southern Culture on the Skids, The Oblivions, Jucifer, and hundreds of others. The band self-released its debut EP, Sometimes They Come Back, in 2011 to critical acclaim and unexpectedly large sales. This led to signing with a legendary surf garage label, Deep Eddy Records, in Austin, Texas. In 2013, the band followed up their debut EP with the first full-length album. Corridor X was met with great reviews and unexpectedly high sales, becoming profitable for Deep Eddy Records in less than 2 months. 2015 was ushered in with a name change to the KBK to avoid confusion with a certain white power band from Belgium, and a renewed sense of being for the band. Their schedule was slowed in order to allow time to write new material and rework their stage show and aesthetic. In July 2015, the band debuted the new live show and proceeded with spreading their apocalyptic testament to the world. This year, they released Acute Exposure, the first 10 years, a collection of the greatest songs from the KBK, and right now we are going to play for you on the Needless Things Halloween special, Hunting for the Dead.
What are we looking for?
Yeah, Sheriff. What are these things?
They're dead things.
And now for a word from our Bobby.
Hi, this is Bobby Nash, and the question was asked of what made me a horror fan, and I'm a big fan of being scared, being shocked, being thrilled. I'm not so much a fan of the gore, of that. That's, to me, is not scary. What I like are the build-up. You know something's coming, and you can feel it, and it just grows, and the anticipation gets heavier and heavier, and you know something's coming. And the first time I can remember experiencing this was with Jaws, which I know is not what most people think of as a quote-unquote horror movie, but really, the horror comes from not when the shark is necessarily doing things, but when you know it's coming and you don't know where it is or what it is. And I like that primal, natural, this could really happen. These creatures really exist. And those type of things are fun to me. And I enjoy a good scare. I enjoy a good monster, real or imagined. I love those types of horror movies. And so when I gravitate toward a horror movie, those are the ones that I'm looking for. I want to be startled and scared, and get the heart pumping and the blood rushing and the adrenaline going to match what's happening on the screen as characters run for their lives or try to stay one step ahead of the monster. To me, that's horror.
You have just experienced the brutality of Kamikaze Zombie from their album The Destroyer of All Things, available wherever you get your music. And now it's time for the 2-minute movie review. All right, welcome, Phantomaniacs, to the 2-minute movie review, where I have, you guessed it, 2 minutes to review every single horror movie that came out in 2019. I'm going to put 2 minutes on this clock and review as many horror movies as I can from this year, because this is the big Halloween special, and I wanted to do something kind of dumb, but also kind of exciting and challenging too, because, I've been doing this podcast for kind of a long time now, and I like to find new stuff to do, which this whole entire episode is an example of that. I hope you enjoy what you're hearing. If you like this, let me know, and maybe I'll do future seasonal specials in this sort of format. Although I got to tell you, I don't know a whole lot of Christmas bands, so it may be a little tough to do in December for the next holiday season. Maybe the guys will finally get that Christmas Creatures thing together that I suggested so many years ago. But anyway, this has been a lot of fun, but also a lot of stress. I will do a final sort of conversation thing at the end where I'll talk a little bit more about why the heck this happened. But right now, let's put 2 minutes on the clock. It is time for the 2-minute movie review. Okay. Midsummer. It was really well done. It was beautiful, nice to look at, lots of great acting. The stuff that was disturbing was pretty disturbing, but it took a long time to get where we were going, and I just don't have that kind of time to devote to a movie that slow and predictable. Like, nothing happened that made me go, oh, I didn't see that coming. Okay, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. They really fudged this one. It had some cool, creepy creature effects, and it looked cool, but they shouldn't have made it one big story. They really should have made it an anthology movie that would be a whole heck of a lot better, like Creepshow. Okay, Annabelle Comes Home. I really liked it. It was cool. It felt like a really long, extended Blu-ray special feature, but you know what? That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. They got in tons of time in the artifact room, and I will never, ever, ever want to see Feely Mealy, which is a real game, and that's fucking disturbing. Pet Sematary. I thought it was a great update. Newsflash for everybody, the old Pet Sematary fucking sucks. It was a great twist on the story. I liked it, and it was another bleak ending like The Mist. Us, best film of the year. Brightburn, exactly what you expect, but that's okay, because it's messed up and weird and very James Gunny, and I hope we get another one, because it was awesome. The Dead Don't Die, also the best movie of the year. It Chapter 2. Did they switch? Did Andy Muschietti disappear from the planet and they had Brett Ratner direct this thing? What a piece of shit. The Curse of kind of slow, not necessarily bad, but Velma doesn't do so well without the rest of the Scooby Gang. Oh look, it's in the Controverse. Cool. Happy Death Day to You. It was fun. It was a whole lot of fun. It did some crazy shit that I didn't expect. It was awesome. 3 from Hell. Worthy entry into the series. It was cool. It was a little bit lighter, but still fucked up. And that's all the time that I had for the 2-minute movie review. What a weird concept to have come up with, and fortunately, funny how that worked out, I only covered the horror movies that I happened to have seen this year. What a crazy, silly thing to have worked out that way. Exactly right. Now, it's time for another song. Now, earlier on, I played a song from the band Super X13, which, as you may know, features a gentleman named Shane Morton, who I have a great deal of respect for and think is a general badass, hard-working dude. He went on to form another band called Gargantua, and I'm going to play something from... Gargantua is one of my all-time favorite bands, I shit you not. Not just because Shane is in it and because the guy who did almost all of the tattoos on my body, Richard Davis, who now does film scores and is still tattooing, was in Gargantua. I genuinely think they're one of the best bands ever. I think their album, Voyage to the Bottom of Laguna Negra, it's one of my top 5 albums. Like, no kidding. And I think... okay, so my favorite song on the album is South of Valhalla. But that's not really a very Halloween-y song. Every song on the album is fucking great. But... my next favorite song, and boy do I hope you know what it's about, is called Volnavia, and here it is.
late. The sweet wife of Dr. Babs, you killed to give you life. Oh, I can't believe what the TV show told me upon the late night horror show. Undead, undressed, I can't believe I'm so obsessed. Oh yes, I truly love.
Derek Tatum isn't just the administrator of Terror by Gaslight on Facebook. He isn't just the director of the Dragon Con Horror Track, and he isn't just a reliable resource of wit and knowledge. Over the years, Derek has become a great friend and a source of much horror knowledge. So here's a word from Derek about what makes him a fan of horror.
How did I become a horror fan? I guess it really depends on your definition of horror. If it's monsters, I've loved monsters for as long as I can remember. A lot of that, I think, stems from the Remco toys of the, I guess it was early 80s. I still have all that stuff, too. I'll be taking that to my grave. And perhaps beyond. But as far as actual full-bore screaming horror, I would say it's because of scary stories to tell in the dark. Yes, I'm sure you hear that all the time. And specifically the illustrations by Stephen Gamble. Monsters didn't scare me, but the unknown did. And a lot of those pictures, I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to be looking at, and it did give me troubled sleep. But as things go, over time I began to wonder why it bothered me. And as I got older, I began looking further and further into the horror realm. And that's how I wound up where I am today. So, that's an abbreviated account of how I got into horror. And, I guess, stay out of the dark.
All right, Phantomaniacs, this is the Halloween special, so it is time for something special that I have never, ever done before on the show proper. I've done it on the mini-casts, but I've never done it on the actual show before. It's time for a live unboxing of a figure that I've been hanging on to for years now, meaning to review at Halloween on needlessthingspodcast.com, and part of me hasn't wanted to open it. Part of me wanted to make sure it would be a big deal when it got posted, and quite frankly, at this point in my career as a podcaster and entertainer, I got to tell you, my expectation of anything being a big deal ever is pretty much gone. So what I'm going to do is open this thing right here live on the show, and you guys can check out pictures on Instagram. I will be posting pictures up there. I'll put a gallery up in the Needless Things Podcast Facebook group, so please check that out as well. And maybe I'll even put the pictures up on needlessthingspodcast.com and finally post this review if I have time to get it written before Halloween. Maybe I'll put it up on Halloween. I don't know if our pal Beth has got anything planned or not. So what I am opening today is from the Resurrection of Monstrous line of action figures. These are from Japan, from Hobby Base Yellow Submarine. I don't know if that's who produced them. I don't know if that's who imports them or what the deal is. These are all monstrous characters. Some of them have roots in Universal Monsters. There is one based on Frankenstein. There's a vampire. There's a wolf girl. There is a Phantom of the Opera style girl. And what we are opening today is Night of Noctilka, I think is the character's name. She is very clearly a Halloween witch, and I will describe her to you shortly. The Phantom of the Opera figure is on the back of the package, as well as a variant of this figure, which I actually had not noticed before, that's an all-pink edition. But I got to tell you, I prefer this orange and purple and green version because that is much more Halloween-y. And you know, that's what we're all about here. So let's read the description of Night of Noctilka. What a heck of a moniker that is. In the North Soup Village, there is a rumor lately. There is something going on in the woods. Strange sightings of the psychedelic light covering the forest haunts every night. Another rumor people said it's a UFO. Aha! Maybe not. That's me, Noctilka. I think that I have to save my hyperaction a little bit. Grandma told me, if you are looking for old magic remedy, you must go to the North Soup Village. So I'm here, but look at this place. Is this place ghost town or what? There's no cool clubs, funky bars, no nothing but some morbid stinking material that I need for my magic. Oh, my name, Noctilka, was named by Grandma, meaning, parentheses, luminous bug, end parentheses. Perfectly fit with me, right? Year! I want to find the materials ASAP and adios, sayonara from this outdated place. Hey, by the way, Nui, don't even think to bite that mandole. Go gar! Parentheses, Mandolagora's scream, end parentheses. C, too late! You guys, I don't know what the fuck I just read, but maybe it meant something to somebody out there. That was completely insane. I almost want to read it again, but I'm absolutely saving this card back because that's some of the most insane things I've ever read in my life. Way to go, Japan. Okay, so on the back of the package, I'm going to go ahead and read the accessories here to you now because I'm not going to do it as I open the figure because there are lots of little tiny accessories in here and they look amazing. So included with Noctilka, which means luminous bug, we have the Memorial Tablet of Ancestor, which is like a jack-o'-lantern. Looks nothing like a tablet whatsoever. We have Mandolagola, which is what you're not supposed to eat, that looks like some kind of like tuber, but they're shaped like, there are two of them, and they're shaped like people, and one has little boobs, and one of them is screaming. I guess maybe that's the one she bit, or the person she was talking to bit. I don't know if she's talking to herself or to an audience. Magic Mash, which are a couple of huge mushrooms. Garlic, which is garlic, only it's spelled Garlick. A dragon's eye, which is a giant eyeball with the stereotypical red, gooey eyeball stuff hanging off of the back. Gecko, which is spelled Geckow. Geico would not appreciate that at all. And then Tsubo, Tsubo, which is her cauldron and spoon combo. And then last but not least, oh my gosh, do I need my glasses for Nui? N-U-I. Oh, Nui. Nui is the one that took a bite out of Mandalagora. So Nui is her cat, of course, because every witch has to have a familiar. So there you go. That totally makes sense. Good job, Noctilka. Great job, Japan. Garlic R for win. All right, so let me set this down and get ready. And hang on just a second. All right, here we go. Time to open up Noctilka. Got a big blister, a gigantic blister card here. Like this, in this day and age, this would probably be in some kind of like collector box. But we are looking at like a 13 by 6 card back with a huge blister on the front of it. Like even Diamond Select stuff isn't this huge. And here we go. I've been sitting on this thing for years, and I'm opening it up here for you guys now. Just pull that card back right off of there. I'm going to hang on to that because that story is incredible, or bio, whatever your synopsis, whatever you want to call it. All right, here we go. We got some... Oh, not really a whole lot of new toy smell. There's a shit ton of stuff in here, so I'm going to turn this back over and pull the front blister off and set it aside. Here we go. Here's... Oh my gosh, that's like weird new toy smell. I've opened these because I've got the rest of the set of these Resurrection of Monsters figures. And actually, if you want to go to BigBadToyStore.com, I got a case of them on clearance for, I don't remember what the price was, but it was ridiculously cheap for a set of like 6 of these. And, or actually, no, it might have been more than that because I've given some away as prizes and stuff. But they're, I don't remember the smell being quite this strong, but I guess it is. Okay, so we've got everything in here. We got a few pieces that are not secured by twist ties, and I'm looking at the cauldron right now, and this thing is great. It's actually a hollow cauldron. You can maybe hear it. A little tappy tap there. It is hollow. It's got flames underneath it that are a separate little rubber piece that look really nice. Good sculpt on those. The spoon is fantastic because it's actually like you could spoon liquid up with this thing. The scoop at the end is actually so deep and so great. You could actually, if you were very patient, you could eat a bowl of soup with this. It would just be little tiny servings at a time. And then there is a ring, an actual metal ring at one end that I'm going to presume you can hang somewhere on this figure or on something that comes with this figure. I'm going to put that right in our cauldron there. And I'm going to pull Nui. Was that its name? I don't remember. Now, I got to look because I feel bad yes, Nui, her familiar that is, I think, designed to drape around her shoulders, which is pretty cool. I like that. Or you can just lay it anywhere around the accessories. Nui is kind of cheaply done compared to the rest of this stuff. It's a purple cat, which, I mean, if you're going to have a cat, have a purple cat. It's got a little green witch hat on, or more like a dunce cap. And then there's a little tiny painted jack-o'-lantern on its tail. Well, it's like a ring, because on the other side it's actually got like a band around it. And the band is actually painted now that I'm looking at it. That's really wild. So this purple cat has... And its eyes are painted, I think, kind of blackish. I don't know. It's kind of a cute cat, but it also looks sort of dead. And then we've also got the stones that the cauldron sits on, so it actually looks like it's like on the ground on a fire. So that's pretty cool. It's like a little fire's made there. We've got her broom, which is like the most Halloween punk rock badass broom I've ever seen. It's got a fantastic paint job. The broom head is lots of different colors. It's mostly green with some orange and some black. There are spikes around the wrapped handle of the broom. There is a little jack-o'-lantern and a little skull, I think, or maybe a moon. I think it's a skull. on it, just sculpted on there. And then at the top of the broom, there is an axe blade. It's not like huge, it's a little axe blade, but it would certainly take your head off were you to run into this lady in the wild in scale. This thing is badass. I'm not like a huge witch guy. As far as my enjoyment of monsters and supernatural characters go, witches aren't super high on my list, which maybe is another reason I've waited so long to open this one. But I gotta say, a witch with a broom like this is pretty awesome. I'm going to set that down. We've got to pull out our hereditary tablet. What tablet? Memorial Tablet of Ancestor. That is a jack-o'-lantern with, it pretty much looks like a skull on the front. And it's got a little indentation on the bottom that makes me think it's probably going to attach to something else that's in this package. But it's one of those sickly, like it's not a bright orange pumpkin. It almost looks like a squash or a gourd. It's that white with sort of an orange wash of paint on it. It really looks kind of sickly and diseased and gross, and I'm going to put it down because I don't want to touch it anymore. Okay, we've got a piece of plastic over the tray that is holding all of the smaller accessories in place, like the dragon eye and the little tuber people. And these are all, what is going on here? These are stuck to something. Oh, are these not individual pieces? Oh, that's actually kind of disappointing. Okay, what I'm going to have to do here, I gave you guys a pro tip on a figure review last week, I think it was, or it might have been this week, that if you are an avid action figure collector, you should have a pair of fingernail or toenail clippers, which you can acquire at Dollar Tree for $1. And you're going to need to get new ones every now and then because they do get dull. But use those things to snip twist ties. Don't sit there untwisting twist ties, wasting your time, being a big goober. Just get your nail clippers and snip those wires. And just be careful not to snip the toy because that ruins the toy. Okay, her hat just came right out. The hat's green and purple. It looks really, really cool. It's actually got a face on it that I didn't notice until just now. There's like almost an Oogie Boogie looking face on the top of this hat, and there's stitching all over it. So you can see where the green portion is stitched to the purple portion, and then there are a couple of, I think, eyeballs maybe, just stuck on here for good measure, because why not? They're either, those are eyeballs for sure, and then there are little pegs on the hat to keep it on her head, but we'll get to that in a minute, because I got to get her figure out of here first. So I'm going to take my trusty nail clippers, snip right through that darn twist tie, and pull Noctilka out of this package. Now, these figures are not fully articulated. They tend to feature maybe 5 points of articulation. And they're all cut joints, which is fine. I mean, there's only so much these need to do because they are little statues essentially. But we've got Noctilka out of the package, and I'm gonna set her aside and come back to her after we take a look at the rest of her accessories. So I've snipped the wire, and there's this like sort of chimney-looking piece. It's like it's stacked stones, and they look beautiful. They're absolutely fantastic. The sculpt and the paint job on this is really, really cool. Like, this is a realistic-looking piece, and I'm actually trying to see where the base is. Did I lose something here? Because this is clearly meant to plug into something, and I don't see anything. Oh, I did. I left a piece on the card back. There is a stone floor that's in a separate little blister glued on to the card back. Okay, so Really nice little stone floor piece. It's pretty small, which is good because I don't want this thing taking up a ton of shelf space. That's one of the big problems I have when things come with like these big bases. They're really cool, but man, how much space can you devote to one figure? But this is cool because this isn't going to take up a whole lot of real estate. It's got a stone floor, and then your stacked stone piece just plugs right into that very easily. It's secure, and I could probably pop right out if I really wanted it to, but I don't need that to happen. And now we've got a little cool background diorama type thing for Noctilka to stand in front of. Remember, that means luminous bug for some reason. And it's a cool looking piece. The only thing that's a little disappointing, though, is all of these little pieces, the dragon eye and the root people, the naked root people and all that, are attached. Oh, no, they do come off. Oh, my gosh. Okay, you guys, this is great. So there's this, like, steel-looking rack attached to the upper portion of the stone, like, wall piece, and all the little gimmicks are stuck to it, and I thought they were permanently attached, which was disappointing because the cauldron is so big and open that, you'd think all this stuff could go in it, and guess what? It can. I'm going to drop a little naked root person in the cauldron. Oh, well, you didn't hear that at all. So you can drop all these little magical, spooky ingredients into the cauldron and have Noctilka make herself a witchy brew. Oh, this is great, you guys. And all these little accessories are so cool. The pegs that they attach to have a little bump on the end, or like a ridge on the end. They're like, it's almost like a nail. So when you put the little item on there, it stays put. There's almost a little snap. If you can listen. Whoop. Well, I don't think you heard that either. Sound is not going so well for the Noctilka review. But all these pieces come off, and actually that wire or that metal rack comes off. It's not actually metal. It's just decoed to look that way. But yeah, look at this. And all the little accessories, the garlic and the salamander or gecko and the mash pies, whatever they are, magic mushrooms. All those little pieces are so nicely painted with tons and tons of detail. They have little wash on the mushrooms and on the root people to give them to really bring out all the sculpt. This is really, really nice. I'm very impressed with this thing. And then finally we get to Noctilka herself. She has little, it's not even really a bra. She's got like jack-o'-lantern faces stuck to her boobs, which, look, I'm not going to lie, it's pretty impressive. She has these wrapped bandage-type opera gloves on with cool, like, fuzzy purple and green pieces sticking out of them that look really awesome. Her fingernails are even painted, and they're alternating colors. She's got purple on her thumb. This is her right hand, which is bare. Purple on her thumb, her next two fingers are green, and then an orange, and then purple on her pinky. What a tremendous attention to detail there. Her left hand is, I am not going to turn it, which is going to be a problem. I'm going to heat this thing up before I try and mess with that hand, because it's turned a weird way, but it has paint, which means that rubber or that PVC, whatever this is made of, could tear. I'm not going to take any chances with this because I really don't want to have to buy another one. She has a skirt on that is kind of just a bunch of torn pieces of fabric sewn together. And like the hat, you can see the stitching, which is very, very cool. And there are there are little ornaments at the end of the torn pieces of the skirt. There's a little jack-o'-lantern, there's a little skull, there's a little metal hoop going through one of the ends. This is, she is very, very Dan Brereton. If you're familiar with the artist Dan Brereton, if you're not, go check him out, look him up, because he's great. But this is very reminiscent of his style. And the paint is fantastic. It's not just each piece is painted, they're washes, so her stockings kind of look dirty. She's got thigh-high stockings on that have stitching on them. And she is, I believe, glow-in-the-dark. I cannot get up and get it dark enough right now, but you would assume a luminous bug would be glow-in-the-dark. She has a necklace with skulls and eyeballs and jack-o'-lanterns all over. This is an incredible figure, you guys. Just really, we don't get things. American toys have really improved over the last decade, probably 2 decades even, but we don't get stuff this cool. We just don't. And if you're like me and you're a big whore for articulation, then I get it. When you look at something like this, you might sort of turn your nose up at it and think, well, it's just a little statue. But these Resurrection of Monsters figures are so detailed and so great, and they look so good up on your shelf that if you go to bigbadtoystore.com and you can still get a case of these things, I 1,000% recommend you do it. The price I paid was ridiculously low, but this figures, her makeup, look at she's got orange lipstick, she's got black eyeliner, little eyebrows, her eyes are painted perfectly, she's got a blue, like, tear or something running down the left side of her face. This figure is phenomenal, and again, go to, I think I'm going to put this under the Needless Things account, but I might repost it to Phantom Troublemaker. But follow Needless Things Podcast on Instagram. Join the Needless Things Podcast Facebook group, and I'll put up all the pictures of this just incredible action figure. On the one hand, I can't believe I waited this long to open her, but on the other hand, I'm glad I did save her for this very special occasion. So you guys, thanks for listening to this live toy unboxing on the Halloween special episode of the Needless Things Podcast.
1817, the year that our lives were forever changed. Things kept getting worse. The sounds in the walls were closer each day. Seems an ancient curse would follow us home and straight to our graves. She would take different forms. They all seemed to harm, to kill and to maim. We can't escape from this house. This hell was never our home. There's something calling to me. It's hiding in the shadows. We can't escape from this house. This hell was never our home. There's something waiting for me. It's calling for my soul. She has been seeking us out to torture us all and drown us in pain. Some things are unexplained. The wickedness, evil, the devil is stained. We battled again and again, but we could not win. She's determined to stay. Things like this will never end. An infamous ghoul that lives to this day. We can't escape from this house. This hell was never our home. There's something calling to me. It's hiding in the shadows. We can't escape. can't escape from this house. This hell was never a home. We can't escape from this house. This hell was never a home. There's something calling to me. It's hiding in the shadows. We can't escape from this house. This hell was never a home. There's something waiting for me. It's calling for my soul.
That was fucking incredible. That was the Bell Witch from the Casket Creatures' new EP, Folklore, available October 31st, or at any Casket Creatures show you can make your way to between now and then. And let's see, today is the 25th, so they probably have at least 18 more shows between now and the 31st. That's my guess. Something along those lines. Okay, you guys, we got to wrap this thing up. I've had a lot of fun sitting here and doing this for the last way too many hours. I left work early to get this thing done. So what happened is I had an original plan, and the original plan got foiled by another podcast deciding that this week's episode was going to be about what my original plan was about. And maybe it's dumb and it wouldn't have mattered and nobody would have cared, and I'm sure nobody would have cared, but I just couldn't do it. So I made another plan, and my other plan just didn't happen because yesterday was an absolute shit show at work, and by the time I got off, there was just no way I was going to be able to, like, be fun and entertaining and think about nerd stuff because it was just too much, you guys. Sometimes it's just too much. So yesterday I decided, I was like, okay, that's not going to work either. What the fuck am I going to do? And I've had this idea, and it didn't quite work out this way. I've had this idea to do a radio show for a long time now. And that's not really what this was. But I wanted to do a bunch of different things in one show, and I wanted to involve it with music and just do a lot of things together that I thought would be cool and would be fun. And, you know, if I'd had more lead time, obviously, I could have planned things a little bit differently. I could have, you know, I used to do the Earth Station Boo shows, which, by the way, if you've never listened to those, please search out Earth Station Boo. They're some of my favorite things that I've ever done, and I wish I still had the what is the old the kids got gumption. I wish I still had the gumption to put things like that together with the guests and the planning and the special features and whatever else. But I kind of do. I kind of have that, and that's what this is. I wanted to do something fun and different and special, and I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to it. And happy Halloween to everyone out there. There will be no traditional outro for this episode because I want to leave you with something very special in your ears. Something that blew my mind, almost brought a tear to my eye. It's so just absolutely wonderful. It's a new Halloween edition for 100% sure. This is my pal Jason Wilson, who directed Troublemaker, which if you go and look up Troublemaker movie, you can see the trailer for it. Hopefully soon you'll be able to see the movie itself. We got to finish the festival circuit before we do any kind of actual wide release. Everybody that saw it at Dragon Con seemed to really enjoy it, and I think once you guys can see it, you will enjoy it as well. But this is his sons are in a band called Billy Bats and the Made Men, and they're pretty freaking awesome. I'm actually trying to bring the YouTube, just fucked me out of where I was. But anyway, they're great, and they did a song, and it's how I wanted to close this show the second I thought of doing this show. and I hope you go seek out the video on YouTube because it's great, it's wonderful, it's a lot of fun. You need to check it out, and feel free. Any of the songs in this episode, if you know what you're doing, you know how to get a hold of these songs. If you pick up what I'm saying, so please enjoy this incredible song.
It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking. Be in front of your TV sets for the horror-thon, and remember the big giveaway at 9. Don't miss it, and don't forget to wear your mask. The clock is ticking. It's almost time. Happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. We're experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Take off the third channel, please. For God's sake, just stop it. Please, stop it. Turn it off. Turn it off. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it!
Thank you for listening to the Needless Things podcast. You're the best. You can find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Downcast, or in the ears of a Trader Vic's employee. Love you, mean it. Uh-huh.